Welcome to the UBC Okanagan Master of Data Science Student and Alumni Virtual Information Session. My name is Khalad Hasan, and I'm an assistant professor in the Computer Science Department at UBC Okanagan. I'm also one of the co-directors of the Master of Data Science program. We are excited to provide you more information about our program and answer any questions that you have. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that UBC Okanagan is situated in the territory of Silks Okanagan Nation and their peoples. I would also like to acknowledge that you are joining us today from many places, near and far, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. In today's session, we have our one current student and two alumni with us to share their experience with studying Master of Data Science program at UBC Okanagan campus. Please note that there will be another session discussing the questions related to admission requirement and application process at another panel in December. Therefore, if you have any question related to student experience, please feel free to ask our panelists using the QA functionalities here. Now, I want to introduce our panelists today. As I mentioned before, we have one of our current student and two alumni with us. I would like each of them to have a chance to introduce themselves. I'm going to first start with Levannia. She was one of our very first cohort Master of Data Science student at UBC Okanagan. Please introduce yourself, Levannia, and provide us with some of your background.
Hi, everyone. My name is Levannia. I guess in terms of my background, as Khalad mentioned, I was in the first cohort of the UBCO MDS program, but before that, I was working as a product engineer in, I guess, the medical field and biomedical devices in particular. And my background in order to do that work was chemical engineering and biochemistry. But in healthcare, what we're seeing is more and more use of data and more advanced uses of data. So as we were starting to see that, I felt that I needed to upgrade my skills a little bit, which kind of led me to the MDS program. And I attended in 2019, and now I work as a data scientist also in healthcare again, still in biomedical devices.
Thank you. Our other alumni who graduated from last year's cohort is Tony. Please introduce yourself, Tony, and provide us some background.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tony. I was in last year's cohort, as Professor Hasan mentioned, and I had a background in music. I trained as a classical pianist for 20 plus years, and it was during my time studying music that I was reading a lot about tech articles, books, and it just kind of made me interested in this field, and I wanted to learn more about it. So I applied, and now currently I work at Yale as a data scientist.
Great, thank you very much, Tony. Our next panelist is Justine, who is a current student in our MDS program. Please introduce yourself, Justine.
So hi everyone, I'm Justine. I come from Quebec, and I actually have a background in actuarial science. I just finished my bachelor's degree this May, and so started with the MDS program this September.
Thank you, Justine. So for our attendee, if you have any questions for our panelists, please feel free to ask them using the Q&A functionalities here. Okay, I'm going to start with our first question, which is what made you to decide on Master of Data Science program at UBC's Okanagan campus? I'm going to let Levannia to comment on it first.
Yeah, so I guess, as I kind of alluded to in my intro, we were kind of seeing that we needed to have a bit more skills looking at data and be a bit more observant of what was going on with the numbers, because in the field that I work, we collect the data, but we don't necessarily do a great deal with it. That is changing. And I didn't necessarily want to work in an academic setting. So that's why I opted for a professional program. And I also didn't want to spend 2 years away from work. So 10 months for the MDS seemed pretty perfect for me. And that is why I chose, well, the Okanagan campus as well is I felt that a smaller class would also be beneficial because I know the Vancouver class is a lot larger, but in our year in 2019, I don't think we were more than 30 people. So that's why I chose both the MDS Accelerated and then the Okanagan campus.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the same questions to Tony. What made you to decide to go to the Master of Data Science program at UBC's Okanagan campus?
So I agree a lot with what Levannia had said. I chose the Okanagan program specifically because of the faculty-student ratio. So coming from a non-technical background, I wanted to be able to communicate with my professors and my teachers and also my peers. And, you know, now looking back, it was absolutely the right choice. And it was such an experience to be able to know them personally and to be able to discuss things, because our class size was maybe, I think, 30 versus a class size of 100 or more. So there's a lot more time that the instructors and the professors are able to give students.
Thank you, Tony. Justine, do you want to follow up about why you choose on MDS program at the Okanagan's campus?
Yeah, well, I remember when I was looking at data science programs, just reading the course, the curriculum, and being interested in all the courses that were offered and being really excited to learn about everything that was mentioned. And then it came to deciding between Vancouver and the Okanagan campus. I'm from a really small town, and for example, I graduated and I was 8 in my high school class. And so I knew the value that like small cohorts could bring and the interactions and how that was valuable within classmates and then relationships with teachers as well. And so for me, the Okanagan just really made sense.
Okay, thank you very much. I also want to repeat the small cohort size that all of you mentioned. Since the start of the program in 2018, we were always maintaining a small cohort size. More specifically, our class size were always below 40. This helped us as a faculty member to make a strong connection with each individual student. Okay, I know that all of you briefly mentioned about your background. So my next question is, did you find the MDS program difficult for your background, or your background helped you to succeed in the program? I'm going to start with Tony on this question.
Yeah, so it definitely was a different pace and a different learning experience. So I think my background, what helped me was sort of having qualities of persistence and like resilience, because I knew I could learn pretty much whatever was given to me. However, the concepts were all very new to me. So that was what was overwhelming and difficult in a way. But I think my advice would be for any potential applicant or current student, as long as you're able to take the time necessary to kind of let the information sit in your brain and try to connect everything and how they relate, then you'll be fine.
Okay, thank you, Tony, for your answer. How about you, Justine? As a current student, are you finding the program difficult due to your background, or your background is helping you in this program?
I think coming from a natural science background, I think they're pretty similar. I've already done modeling, and I think in the statistic kind of aspect to the program, I was really more comfortable than, let's say, programming. I was just briefly introduced to programming during my program, but had never really used Python or any of that kind of thing. And so I'm lucky that I can use the extra time that I'm not putting in the stat classes into those courses that are more focused on programming. And so I think my background is definitely helping me right now be less overwhelmed and put that time into courses where I think I would have more difficulty with.
Okay, thank you for your answer. What about you, Levannia? Did you find the program difficult due to your previous background?
Well, I guess I did have a taste of some of the things that we were going to be learning. I knew a little bit of programming, not necessarily in Python, but we had worked in different languages. And I had a little bit of statistics knowledge, which I guess helped. But the first 2 months of the program, the first two, I guess, blocks, I felt were really meant to like get everybody to the same level. So I would say, or my advice would be, if you have the introductory prerequisites, which is like a coding course, a stats course, I think maybe a calculus too, like that's enough. And then you'll gain the rest as you go throughout the program. And in the first 2 blocks, you'll get if you put in the time, you'll get the knowledge that will help you for the rest.
Thank you very much for your answer. I will follow up on this, but we have a related question, which I'm going to ask next. So the question is, what level of programming, statistics, mathematics background do you feel you need going into the program? I'm going to let Justine to comment on that first, as she is currently taking the course.
Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't too worried about the math and stats side of things, but the programming, I was kind of scared seeing that we're seeing Python and all of these things that I hadn't seen before. And so this summer I did look over a bit of an introduction to Python, but now having gone through the first block, I see how that wasn't necessary, because we did go over all the basics in Python. And same thing for the math classes, we did go over the basic of probability distributions and all of that to set like the foundations for the next blocks. But I think just having an overall idea of the big concepts, so let's say in programming, what are loops and how to work with loops, and not specific to a language, but just having the idea of like how to work with these tools. Same for like probability distributions, just having like an overall understanding of the concepts. Because we will, like in the first block, we went back and we revisited these concepts to make sure everybody was on the same plane.
Yes, I think it's a great point. So in this program, we see students with different background, like as we already realized from our panelists today. In a class, we commonly see students from computer science, statistics, mathematics, or with other undergraduate or graduate degrees. Now, students with computer science background may find the programming related courses easier than the other courses. Therefore, they may need to spend a little bit of time on other courses such as stat or math courses and so on. So as all of you mentioned, like one of the nice thing about this program is we design it in such a way that the first 2 blocks are kind of get everyone to the same pace, or at least have a similar background knowledge necessary to complete this program successfully. Therefore, if you do not have a computer science background, you may need to spend a little bit of more time on programming related courses to get up to the speed. And if you have time to learn programming language, as Justine mentioned, like such as Python, which is commonly used in our program, or R, or if you have chance to review some stat, math, that will help you in the program, definitely. Now, do you want to follow up on this, Levannia? What level of programming, statistics, math background do you feel is needed to going into the program?
I'm sorry, you cut off at the end of that question. Could you repeat it for me?
Yeah, sure. So the question is, what level of programming, statistics, math background do you feel you need in the program?
I mean, like as Justine mentioned, I think you just need the basics. Like if you've taken the prerequisites, or if you meet the prerequisite requirements, I feel like that sets you up for the program. And then the rest, like the first 2 blocks, you really kind of make sure you understand that information. And if you have more programming, maybe you'll spend more time on the statistics side of things in those first 2 blocks, and vice versa. If you have more programming and not as much statistics, then you'll spend your time there. And then once you have that solid foundation in the first 2 months, you begin to build on those concepts. And I think that's where like the small cohort size at UBCO is really quite beneficial, because you, at least in my cohort, like we all knew everyone's names, the professors knew all of our names. We had like study groups where we we met to discuss, and like people who were strong in various topics were always willing to help each other. And the TAs as well were always very helpful in our labs. So I would say like just like if you have the intro stats, the intro calculus, and the intro coding, like that's enough. I mean, obviously, I think if you have time to do some prep work before, like that will help you, because 10 months is not 24 months, which is a regular master's program. But I think the introductory is all you need.
Thank you. What about you, Tony? Like, what do you think? What level of background do you feel you need going to the program?
Yeah, I think anyone can come in and still learn something. And I say that because my peers and we all came in with varying levels. So I had classmates who had been working as in business or as engineers for already 10 plus years. So they knew a lot about data analysis and statistical modeling. I had peers who just recently graduated undergraduate and were looking to get a grad degree. Myself and other classmates, we pivoted. And so I think what's unique about this program is that it's set up in a way where no matter your level, you can still find more to learn. Whether it be this is just like a starting point for you, or whether you're very experienced and you want to learn how the faculty thinks about these concepts. Because at the end of the day, like your education doesn't stop after 10 months. It keeps going. 24 months or 2 years is also not enough to say you're a proficient data scientist or machine learning engineer. There are people that go on and do PhDs. So it's just about whatever level you're at. And I would say like this program is very inclusive and welcomes everyone. And so, yeah, as long as you have the prerequisites, you should be able to do well.
Thank you, Tony. So the summary is here that the program is basically designed to bring all the students up to the same level, regardless their previous background. However, as you know, that it's an accelerated program, 10-month-long program. So any preparation that you take before joining the program would help you a lot to complete the program successfully. Now I'm going to move to the next question, which is what is the most valuable thing that you gain from this program? I'm going to start off with Levannia.
The most valuable thing for me, what I think was the most beneficial is that this program really had such a broad teachings. Like you learn, like their data science is a very large field, but in this program you really touch on many different aspects of it. Like you look at the machine learning, you look at the data visualization, you look at the statistical side of it. And for me, that was my biggest takeaway, because now as a data scientist, I work largely in more of the statistical side, but I still need to know what those other individuals are doing, and having that broad knowledge base really helps me in that regard.
Okay, thank you. What about you, Tony? What is the most valuable thing that you gained from this program?
A network. So I came from an arts background. And also I studied in the US. So all of my network were based in the US. Even though I'm from Canada, I didn't really know anyone in Canada outside of the people that I grew up with. So coming to UBC, it was invaluable for me to develop a network in a different field. Not only the faculty, but my peers. Yeah, and you know, throughout this program, you're really gonna lean on them, and they're gonna lean on you, and that's how you get through these programs.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Justine, we know that you just started the program in this September, so it's just a few months that you have started the program. Do you want to add a bit more on the valuable thing you have gained so far from the program?
Yeah, I think for me, the thing that sticks out is really the relationships that I've already started building with my classmates and with the teachers also. I think, yes, it's intense. And so I think everybody bonds in the fact that we're all in this together and everybody's there helping each other out. Right now, I live in a residence with 3 other girls from the program. And I think it just makes it easier to bond. And then we're always helping each other out. I can help them and with like share my knowledge and more the statistics side, and they come from a computer science background and they help me. I think just bonding over the fact that it is a hard program, but we're helping each other out, I think is really valuable to me.
Thank you, Justine. I'm now going to move to the next question. And the question is about what was your favorite aspect of the program? I'll go back to Tony now. I know that you had an interesting experience attending the course online due to COVID-19. What was your favorite aspect of the program?
My favorite aspect, I would say, I want to go back and talk about networking and just the relationships that you built, as Justine had mentioned, because that carries through. Like, even though I'm done with the program now, my peers and I, like, we've found jobs or some are looking for jobs, yet we all still stay connected. And when we have problems, even in our jobs, we are contacting each other and we're communicating with each other on how to solve problems. And that relationship that you build while you're in class solving problems together, that carries through. And so that is and was my favorite aspect, because you get to learn from so many different people about how they think, especially because everybody's experience is different, right? So just because, let's say, you know how to code something, it's always good to ask someone else how they do it, because you might learn something that's makes the code run faster or more efficiently. Same thing with like the statistics and math concepts, and it's just about learning how people think. So yeah, that was my favorite aspect.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like I do also think that the small cohort provides all the students an opportunity to create a strong bonding. And still, I know that there are many alumni who are in contact with even us, and they have their own communication channel between them and so on. Levannia, what about you? It has been more than 2 years you completed the program. Now, what do you think as your favorite aspect of the program?
Well, I hadn't realized it had been more than 2 years until you said it. However, I think I would probably second what Tony said. Like, even though it's been 2 years, I'm still in contact with my peers, and we went through the program, we went through together, and we still ask each other questions, or like, not just data science related, because now we're a little established in our field, and we're advancing, and we're learning new techniques, and we're going through that process together. And it's always nice to have people to lean on and to ask questions of when you're doing something for the first time. Because I think it's intense, as Tony and Justine mentioned, you do bond with your cohort.
Yes, like I do also agree with all of you. And also I noticed that like there are different communication channels where even alumni share their job with their other MDS students and so on. So it's a very nice collaborative environment where all the student wants every other students to be succeed in the program. So Justine, do you want to follow up about your favorite aspect of the program so far?
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said. Also, I can add, for me, I really enjoy the fact that it is intense, and that every month I get to look forward to learning about 4 new topics. I just think that's really, really cool. I'm always like excited to say, okay, what's coming next? And I think that's really cool as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Justine. Now, like on a very similar question, I know that we already discussed about this topic, but we have several questions on about the makeup of your cohort and your interaction with other students. So probably I'll go back to Justine. Like as a current student in the program, can you please tell us about the makeup of your cohort and share your experience interacting with other students?
Yeah, so my cohort is really diverse, and by diverse, yes, I mean there's people that come from everywhere around the world, but also diverse in terms of what background everybody has. I have a friend that has a jazz undergrad and another one that has a neuroscience undergrad. Computer science, I mean, everybody comes from different backgrounds. There's students that, like me, are just fresh out of their undergrad, while others are coming back to learn new skills. And I think that mix of different knowledge is really valuable when we have interactions together. I can learn something from my classmates. Like every day I learn from them. And so, yeah, very diverse, and all the interactions have been really positive. I mentioned we're all in this together. Everybody's helping out. We have a group chat on Slack, and when someone asks a question, I mean, it takes minutes, and then someone's already have answered and has given it their thought. And so, yeah, really just very positive interaction, that's for sure.
Okay, thank you, Justine. How about you, Levannia? Can you please comment on the makeup of your cohort and share your experience interacting with the other students in your cohort?
Sure. I mean, like as Justine mentioned, our cohort was also very diverse, and that was actually one of the things I remarked on when I started. We were from all over the world. We were from various backgrounds. Some of us had worked for very long time. I don't want to date anyone who was in my cohort, but were returning to school. Some were straight from undergrad. Some had already completed masters. Some had MBAs. So it was very diverse, and I think that really added to the knowledge because when we worked together, we all had very different perspectives when we were approaching problems. But yes, and I think that was a strength of our cohort as well. And even now that we're still in touch, that remains to be a strength.
Okay, thank you. Tony, you completed the program when we had to move the program online due to COVID. It was an interesting time as all the lectures were online. However, there are some labs that were in person, allowing students to have an opportunity to interact with each other. Now, could you please share your experience interacting with other students in your cohort during the COVID-19?
Yeah, so one of the, benefits of being on the Okanagan campus was when the program started, we started in person. Vancouver, I believe, started online. And so because there were only, I think, 27, but I think only on campus, there were maybe 15 students at the time. We really quickly bonded, and, we're learning from each other. And even once, the COVID conditions had changed and we also went online, those relationships that we built were still there. And I think that was extremely beneficial, especially during a time like COVID, where I'm sure also in Vancouver, they did a great job of keeping all students connected, but I just felt that it was much more valuable for me personally to be able to meet my peers and the instructors and professors right away.
Okay, thank you, Justine. Another very common question that we receive is about the intensity of the program. Everyone is very curious to know about the intensity of program, as this is a 10-month accelerated program where the program includes 24 one-credit courses and one capstone project. Levannia, what is your opinion in terms of intensity of the program? More specifically, how intensive did you feel compared to your undergraduate or similar program?
I mean, it is intense because every month you've got 4 new courses. I think quizzes are every 2 weeks, and you write 2 quizzes per block, and you're handing in labs every week. So that can feel intense, and it is a fast pace as well. because you can imagine if you fall behind, you have 4 courses, and that can be stressful. But I would add that it can feel intense and it can feel stressful, but you have the support in the program. Your peers are there, your TAs, the professors are all very supportive. Like, we all recognize that what we're doing will be intense and will require a very large time commitment. So the support is there for you despite the intensity.
Okay, thank you very much. What do you think, Tony? How intensive did you find the program compared to your undergraduate or similar program?
For the first 2 months, it was intense. I wouldn't compare it to my undergraduate program because they were so different. I think for my undergraduate program, I made it intense because of what I was interested in. But eventually you get used to it, and you find a rhythm of what works for you. And yeah, I think also just after a while, it kind of normalizes, and that intensity is okay. And now, actually, to be honest, now that I started working, it's a lot more relaxed sometimes, and so I kind of miss it. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. How about you, Justine? What do you think about the intensity of the program?
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said. I think the first block was harder because it's all new. We had 4 labs every week, and then quizzes come back every 2 weeks. You don't have time to not be on top of everything, which I think in my undergrad I could sometimes pull off. Oh, I'm a bit late, I'll get back to it. Here you really have to make sure you're on time every week and that you're putting all the work in. But I think once I established my routine, and once even in the second block, I can see myself being not less intense, but I've been better at managing everything. So yeah.
Okay, thank you all. On this note, I want to provide a bit more information about the program. So we have 6 blocks, and each blocks students are required to take 4 1-credit courses. And also I'd like to provide an idea of a day look like in the MDS program. We have our classes on Monday to Thursday from 9:30 to 12:30, and labs are from 1:30 to 3:30. We do not have any classes on Friday. So like you can say that you have 3 days weekend. However, during the 4-day classes, we try to provide as much information possible to build your knowledge required for the data science job and so on. So during the remaining 3 days, you are going to study them, you are going to work on your labs, you are going to work on your quiz projects and so on. So as you know that this is a 10-month accelerated program, therefore we encourage the student to spend time during that time to build the necessary skills in order to be prepared for the job market. Now, another related question is that, are you able to hold a part-time job and do the program? We know that it's a personal call. However, I would like to hear from the students who went through the program. What do you think, Levannia? Would you be able to work during this program?
Well, I think it is a personal choice. I know in my cohort, there was someone who had a part-time job, I believe just at a Starbucks. But I think personally, it would be a little too demanding for me, especially if you have a job, like once you have deadlines that are colliding with your part-time job and your schoolwork, like that would definitely be a little overwhelming. So I would caution against working part-time unless you needed to financially. And I think the gains that you would get from studying and putting your time there will help you in the long run with your job applications and the skills that you gain there.
Okay, thank you very much. How about you, Tony? What do you think about holding a part-time job while taking the program?
Yeah, I agree with what Levannia had said. it's very personal. It depends on your other aspects in life, obligations and responsibilities. If you have the luxury to not, I would probably not, because I would take the time to like take care of yourself, your health, your well-being. Take time to also just like let the information sit, and do other things, because if you're constantly stressed and doing something, that's not a very conducive way to learn. And so that should be the priority, is to come here and learn, and you'll make up for it later in your career down the line.
Thank you, Tony. How about you, Justine? You are taking the program right now. Do you have any thought of holding a part-time job while taking the program?
Yeah, like everyone said, I would suggest not having a job if that's an option for you. Personally, I just want to make the most of my time here and make sure I'm putting that into data science. We're learning a lot, and there's so much room to learn. You can always learn more or go more in depth with everything we're seeing. And I think I'm just making sure I take that time to focus on data science. It's really my top priority right now. It is an intense program, and it's just 10 months. And so I want to make the most of my time here and make sure I learn as much as I can.
Thank you, Justine. Now I want to talk about instructional environment. So let's start off with Justine again. How supportive are the instructor when you have difficulties understanding your course materials or homework? Are they reachable and approachable for your courses?
Yeah, the teachers have been great. I think there's never been a moment where I had a question and that I couldn't have it answered, whether that be in office hours or during asking the questions to the TAs during lab time, or just sending an email, writing on Slack. The teachers are always there to answer our questions, and they do so in a really short period of time. So I've had a really good experience with all of the teachers, and they're really there to support us, and I can feel that.
Thank you, Justine. We all instructor in the program want students to be successful. So we are working very hard to ensure that students are gaining necessary skills to start their dream career job related to data science. And that's what really the program is about. Now, how I will move to Levannia. What do you think about the support available from your instructor? Were they reachable and approachable for the courses while you were taking the course 2 years ago?
Yes, they were incredibly supportive and always reachable. I think 2 years ago in the first cohort, we were still maybe learning a little bit. So as students, we felt very comfortable talking to our professors and bringing up colliding deadlines, for example, and professors were very supportive. They planned around each other, the courses. The information was built such that it complemented other classes in many ways. And the TAs, as well as our professors, were always available and held regular office hours if we needed them.
Thank you very much, Levan. What do you think, Tony? So you are one of those students who affected by online transition due to COVID-19. What do you think about the supports available from your instructors during the online classes? Were they reachable and approachable for your courses?
Yeah, yes, they were. And I would say it was new for everyone. And so I would say for incoming students, potential applicants, is that your professors and instructors are also humans at the end of the day. Like, they also have other responsibilities and other classes that they are teaching. So yes, they made themselves very available, and they were very accommodating in terms of like the academic things like deadlines and concepts learned and stuff. At the same time, I would ask and say to just be conscientious and aware, because whatever course or video you may watch of a way a certain data science concept or statistical concept or computer science concept is taught in that video, it will probably be different than the way that it's taught here. And that's okay, because it's, at the end of the day, it's just good to learn, again, how your peers and your faculty think. And that's what's most valuable. Yeah, so they were very, very supportive.
Thank you, Tony. Now I'm going to move to the next question, and as you know that our MDS Okanagan program, we have 4-week block system, which is very short compared to any semester or quarter system. So there were a few questions on maintaining school life balance. I'll start off Tony again. How do you maintain a school life balance during your program?
Okay, so if I were to be very specific, I guess try to have a routine. So 8 to 4 or whatever hours you decide on. Schedule some time for yourself, for yourself, whether it be like read a book, go out for a walk, something that takes you away from your schoolwork. But also structure it in a way where, because they're in 4 blocks, or they're in 4-week blocks, and not every week is the same. So most likely your second week will be a little bit busier because you'll have a test, and then your 4th week will be busier. So then plan it in a way where you are like ramping up your intensity, and that will allow you to handle the coursework and balance your life.
Okay, thank you, Tony. How about you, Levannia? Like, can you please comment on maintaining school life balance when you are in the program, or like maybe mention like what it is like being in Okanagan, or like what do you do or did on the like weekend to maintain a school?
Yeah, for sure. Like I would agree with Tony to definitely be structured in your approach, but I would say between the blocks, you have a few days, like you have a weekend or sometimes even 3 days, like take that time and like for you, and like when I was going through the program, we would, as a cohort, sometimes do activities. Like we would go to the wineries in the Okanagan, because there are quite a few. I took ballet classes. I tried to take them at least once a week while I was there. But if you can't, like if you have anxiety or stress during the week and you don't want to take too much time, at the end of a block, I would really encourage you just like stop, like turn off your computer, take that time, get ready for the next block, because it comes, and if you're not ready, like it's ready for you.
Thank you very much. So yes, like we also try to schedule the blocks in such a way that student can get some time between the blocks, and also instead of 5-day classes, so we scheduled it for 4-day classes, so that at least they can have 3 days off time, and they could actually maintain a school life balance for that. So now I'm going to Justine, and I'm going to ask the same question. How do you maintain school life balance when you are in the program right now?
Yeah, I think it's important to take time and do something else in schoolwork. Yes, it's an intense program, but I think at some point you have to be okay with the labs aren't done, but it's fine. I'll shut off my computer. I'll go do a hike. I'll go see. It's beautiful here, and so I want to make sure that I get to see it also. And so I go on hikes. And when I come back, I'm better. I'm more productive. I can find a semicolon missing in my code that's been like making it not run for the past hour, but just taking that time off and coming back, I feel like just helps being more productive and helps maintain that balance.
Okay, thank you. On a related question, like I would like to know a bit more information on how a day in life of a MDS student. So I know that we already discussed it like partially, but I want to hear it from the students who has experience with this program. So let's start with Justine on this time again. Like, can you please tell us a typical day, such as how early do the class starts in the morning, how late the classes ends, and let's say how much time you have to spend outside the classes?
Yeah, so the day starts at 9:30, and so from 9:30 to 12:30, we're in class. We have 2 different classes every morning, Monday through Thursday, and then in the afternoon from 1:30 to 3:30, we get to work on the assignments in lab time, and then the TAs are there to answer questions if we have any. Usually I'll stay in class and work until maybe 5:30 until I have to go back to have supper, and then after supper, I'll continue working from maybe 7 to 9 or 10. I try to get as much work done in the week so that I can have some time off in the weekend to do and go on hikes and to see things. And so I try to do as much work during the week. Usually that looks like from 9:30 to, let's say, 9 is what my day usually looks like.
Okay, thank you, Justine. How about you, Tony? You took the courses like during COVID-19, and like, can you please tell us your daily schedule look like when you were taking classes online?
Yeah, so my schedule changed because it was online. Like, we had the flexibility of the lectures were recorded, and so I preferred to watch the recordings. So I structured it in a way where in the morning, if I woke up, I would get work done, and then I would watch lecture videos later in the day. And I think, especially because we were online, my peers and I, we all structured it in different ways that were beneficial for us, rather than, I think, because it's live now, everyone is attending at the same time. So I would say structure things in a way that suits you, and it's okay that it's different than someone else. Like, don't compare yourself to someone else. No.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. Levannia, do you want to follow up on that, like about your typical day when you were in the program?
I guess, yeah, we were all in person always. We were lucky, I suppose, in that respect, or maybe I haven't experienced it online, so there might be those who enjoy that a bit better. But my days, like classes were the same, 9 to 12 lectures in the morning, and then they'll break for lunch, and then the labs in the afternoon. I found that for me, that wasn't enough time to do all the work I needed to do. So I would have a break in the afternoon, and then I would work for maybe 2 to 3, sometimes 4 hours extra every day. And then on Fridays, despite not having classes, I kept that same schedule. And then on the weekends, I tried to give myself a bit of a break, but I would work, if it was like an intense week, I would maybe go up to like 15, 20 hours of additional work on the weekend. But on weeks that were not as busy, it might have been like 6 to 8. So it varied, but I would say that the structure in my case really helped me to stay on top of what needed to be done.
Okay, thank you. We have received several questions on finding jobs in Canada and other places outside Canada. So I'm going to start with Tony on this. Did you plan to stay in Kelowna after completing your program, or do you feel that you can compete for jobs anywhere in Canada or outside Canada?
I would say I can compete for jobs with like my experience for whatever job is listed that qualifies me. I didn't plan to stay in Kelowna. I planned to stay in BC, but that is not the case as I am in the US. And yeah, and I started looking and applying for jobs pretty soon because things are just open, and I just needed that for myself. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. So like from your answer, it seems to me the program is designed in such a way that after completing the program, students should be able to find a data science related job anywhere in the Canada or outside Canada as well. So what about you, Levannia? Did you feel that you can compete for jobs anywhere in Canada and outside Canada after completing the program?
I felt that way. I mean, UBCO, there's also like a career aspect to it. I believe Angela at the time was helping us. We had workshops on like resume writing, like job interview skills as well, that throughout the program to help us apply for jobs. And I suppose my experience is unique because I returned to the same company that I worked at before as an engineer, now simply as a data scientist. But as I have sponsored Capstone, I sponsored a Capstone project at Siemens last year, and I would say that the caliber of the students that come out of the MDS is quite high, and they're quite competitive. They can compete for jobs. They would have done well with us at Siemens, and they did. So I think you can rest assured that the education will give you the competitiveness that you want for data science jobs exiting.
And if I can just quickly add to that, I think just having a degree from UBC will make you competitive for these roles. The conversation is different about how then to build your application or your resume in a way so that you win that job. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tony, for this information. Now, Justine, you may not be in a position to answer this question right now as you are currently in the program. However, do you think the program is designed in such a way that it will help you to find job after completing the degree?
Yeah, I do think I'm just in the second block and I've already received a lot of information about career fairs, for example, virtual information sessions, webinars. I've actually attended a webinar a few weeks ago about big data and where data scientists were telling us what their role looked like in that company. And so already I'm getting all that information. So I know that going forward, I'll just have more information and that I'll have a lot of help finding that job.
Okay, thank you for this information. I just wanted to add that we have additional supports available here to prepare students for their future career, starting from job searching, career advising, and others. Now I'm going to, as we have a few more minutes, I wanted to talk about Capstone project. I know that as a part of the MDS program, student gets a chance to work with an industry partner and gain valuable work experience. Now, I'm going to start off with Tony on this. How was your experience on the Capstone project? Was it like working with how was it like working with the organization in a data science problem?
Yeah, so my group and we worked with a startup based in Vancouver, a healthcare startup on electronic medical records. And I thought that the experience was phenomenal. I think also partly because I had a great group of peers that I worked with, and the startup that we worked with, everyone was just able to communicate very well, and we were just able to get a lot of work done. But also the startup, they gave us a lot of freedom as a team to explore different solutions. And so that allowed us to take the things that we learned from this program and be creative and think of creative ways to solve the problem that they wanted to solve. And our startup, or the startup we worked with, they were also open to us coming up with solutions that reach dead ends. Because that helped them so that they would know not to go down that path. And they could look in a different direction. So yeah, it was good.
Okay, thank you. We have some MDS alumni, such as Levannia, who sponsored a Capstone project last year to the MDS student from her organization she is currently working at. What about you, Levannia? What was your experience as a student and as a Capstone partner?
I guess I'll start with as a student. I really enjoyed the Capstone. I was working at Interior Health in the Okanagan, and I think what's really beneficial about the Capstone, irrespective of where you do it, is that you get to see some like real life data and all of the problems that come with real life data, or all of the intricacies and the things that you might not have thought about when you were doing your assignment because the date formats were already cleaned for you. And that was a valuable experience for me. As a supervisor of a capstone project, I was quite impressed with the students because I think as a data scientist, your job is quite unique in that you analyze the data and you build the models, but you also need to communicate what you've done in an intelligent way. So, and you need to communicate it such that others who don't necessarily have the technical background will understand. And for that, the critical thinking was, I was quite impressed with the students during their capstone because they presented many different problems. They, like Tony mentioned, like we gave a demanding problem, but we were not so much concerned in the solution. What we wanted to see was the process and the approach, and because that would help us in the future as we go forward. So those were the two things that I was most impressed with as a sponsor: the communication of the students, as well as their critical thinking and with the problems that we gave them.
Thank you very much for your for your answer. So for the Capstone project, we commonly have projects from different organizations, starting from Statistics Canada, from different financial institutions such as Scotiabank and others. And also we have Capstone projects from our local companies, for instance, Interior Health and others. Now, for Justine, like, did you consider Capstone as a factor when you were thinking to enroll in the MDS program?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really interesting to have that experience going into the job market afterwards. You can write that in your resume, and I feel like you learn a lot by just doing it and trying it out. In lab, we have data that are like using real life data, like Levannia said. So I was definitely looking forward. I'm looking forward to the Capstone project.
Okay, thank you. We have only a few minutes left, and I want to ask two more questions. I'm going to start with the first one. What do you think it is important for potential students to know about the program? I'm going to start off with Tony, and probably, just a few words on this.
Okay, I would say go in with an open mind and be a sponge. This program, no matter like whether you get all A's or whether you're just passing, is not going to determine your career or your worth. This is just a starting point. You guys are interested in it. You guys are interested in the field of data science. Come in and learn about it, learn about these concepts, and just go from there. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. What about you, Levannia?
I would second that like it's 10 months, and really take the time to learn and also have fun, because I structured my life around the program, not necessarily the program around my life, and that really allowed me to gain some knowledge as well as some friends and colleagues that I truly value now.
Thank you, Levannia. How about you, Justine?
I feel like, yes, the program is intense and it's a lot, but it's also so rewarding. Just looking back at where I was a month ago, I feel like I've learned so much in that short period of time. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing how much I've learned in 10 months, if that's how much I've learned in all just the first months. And so it is really rewarding. It's worth the intensity of the program.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to move to the last question very quickly. Levannia, how was your MDS experience as a whole?
As a whole, it was intense, but I would say that it it was fun. I learned a lot that I learned every day, and it really gave me that. It gave me what I was looking for, that broad overview of the field to allow me to change what I wanted to do and to keep growing.
Thank you. How about you, Tony? How was your MDS experience as a whole?
Yeah, it was very memorable. I think the program, the curriculum itself gave me the confidence to know that I could really learn anything, because it's just a lot. But also the faculty there, they're so kind and they're willing to help. And if you're also interested in doing more beyond just the curriculum, they're there also as there to guide you if you're also interested in doing like more specific projects that are also related to their work as well. And I think that's one of the special things at Okanagan. Yeah, and so it was really valuable.
Okay, thank you, Tony. How about you, Justine? I believe you are muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I just have positive things to say about the program right now. I'm just enjoying every day. I'm so happy to go to class and learn more, and I'm just looking forward to what's to come.
Thank you, everyone. I want to thank our panelists today, Levannia, Tony, and Justine, for your time and sharing your experience with us. If you have any follow-up question, please contact us at MDS UBC Okanagan. Thank you, everyone, again for attending the session. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.